Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. So today I'm taking a look at the Motels. In particular, I'm going to be looking at a couple of their hits a few years later after the band had pretty much dissolved. There's a whole history with this band. It's a whole story. They started in early 70s in Berkeley, California, and actually played some of the same venues that the Grateful Dead did, like Troopers Hall. They didn't really get anywhere during that first incarnation, didn't get any record company interest, so they dissolved. And then they came back in the late 70s and they started putting out albums. Their third album was actually a re-recording of their actual third album, which the record company rejected as being too weird and too heavy. And so they went about re-recording it. In the process of that, they lost their lead guitar player, who had been in a relationship with Martha Davis, the lead singer. And so what that means is that the producer suddenly felt unencumbered to actually use the band in the recordings, which is an unfortunate thing that does happen in the music business. But using that technique, they got their first big album, All for One, in 1982 with the big hit Only the Lonely on it. That's going to be one of the songs I look at today. The next year, they came out with the album Little Robbers, which had Suddenly Last Summer on it. And that's a Martha Davis song. So pretty much after that, the band went downhill. Martha did eventually put the band back together. Now, this is where there's some mystery. I'm not sure who is playing with her. This comes from a club. It's called The Basement. It seems to me that this probably is the late 90s, just based on the information that I can get here. So it's many years after the hits. But the thing is that the Motels started out as a great rock and roll band. Some new wave too, but essentially they were a very solid band. And Martha Davis was a solid writer for them. She put together a new band called the Motels, and it was called the Motels featuring Martha Davis. And I believe that's what we're going to see here. So this is a little on the lo-fi side, but not bad. Actually, the audio is quite good. The lo-fi part might be the fact that it was put on videotape, and I think there's probably just one camera. So it's like you're at the club, but I think it's very, very listenable and watchable and should be interesting to anybody who remembers those songs and maybe had questions about the band. So the first one's going to be Suddenly Last Summer. And then we're going to I'll stop for a minute, talk about that, and then we'll get into Only the Lonely.
My new band is a great new band. I have fabulous guys working with me, probably the best band I've ever played with. David Sutton on the bass.
Excellent. We're going to get some intro.
Prince Lewack on the drums. Mick Tars on the guitar. And they kick ass. Fabulous players and just a joy to work with.
For a moment
Only the Lonely symbolized a time in my life when things were actually, I guess, going pretty well. I'd actually gotten signed to a record deal and was touring and doing things, and yet my life, in reality, behind the scenes, was pretty much disgusting. It was awful. I was in a bad relationship. I was lonely. I was still sorting out things like the death of my mother, which actually I wasn't sorting it out. I was basically just sort of hiding behind things. So it was kind of a very empty time and yet a very full time, paradoxically speaking. So it was sort of only the lonely can play.
Okay, before going into that one, let me just acknowledge a few things about that last performance. If you recall, anybody that remembers the Motels, they had a keyboard player, and the keyboards were prominent in that song. So no keyboards in this band. It would appear it's two guitars, bass, and drums, and that's it. Sounds very rock and roll, sounds very raw to me in a way. Raw, but extremely well-rehearsed and competent, without losing any of the feeling. Sounds like a great band to me. She also made what sounded like an artistic decision to me, because the original, you go to that pre-chorus and it's and this one she goes, which is more, it's more pleasing, but it almost felt like they used that half step back in the day to kind of give the song a slightly different spin. Just that one little note seemed to give the song a character that perhaps Martha was trying to strip away at this point. Maybe she thought it was pretentious or something like that. Because it's already interesting to go, to go up there, la, la, and then to go here, da, da, da. I mean, very jazzy there. You know what I mean? It's not all that rock and roll. It was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It was kind of analogous to the Crystal Ship with the Doors, You get that note in the chord, and you're like, that's not what I expected. Same kind of thing there. And she removed that. She changed it up to a straight up, just a full, do, 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 do. So, I don't know. If anybody has thoughts on that, share them below. But I found that very interesting. I like the sound of the band. It's really interesting to hear the Motels without any keyboards. So now I'm wondering what Only the Lonely will sound like. I think it'll probably sound fine, but it had a very prominent keyboard part, so they're probably going to transfer that to guitar as they did before. So let's go ahead and check it out.
We walked the loneliest mile. We smiled without any style. We kissed all together wrong, no intention. We lied about each other's drinks. We lived without each other, thinking what anyone would do without me and you. It's like I told you, only the lonely can play.
Wow. Okay. That was really interesting as well. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. They transferred everything over to the, you know. That was all on the guitar, you know. So, very cool. Very cool. Just the way that it was done. I mean, it fit perfectly. It still sounded right, even though there weren't any keys in there. So, props. I'm going to guess that was probably about the year 2000. I don't know for sure, though. If anybody saw that lineup or can tell me more, if you've ever seen the band before, whatever incarnation, by all means, let me know what you know, and tell me about the experience of seeing them. I mean, she has great bands. I always thought she had some integrity. At the time the songs came out, they weren't necessarily my cup of tea. They got a lot of airplay. As time went on, I realized the songs had integrity. And it turns out that Martha Davis is the writer, of those hits. So if any of that came as a surprise to you, why don't you tell me what your impressions are of these two songs as they were performed here, or how you felt about them back in the day. If they bring back any memories, any of your own insights, I would be interested in hearing. But in the meantime, if you have other suggestions for me, please leave them below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed the presentation, please subscribe. All right, thanks so much for joining me today. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care, folks.